What your favorite car says about you. Tesla. You think you're saving the world, but honestly, you're just trying to show everyone how tech-savvy you are. You love telling people about the autopilot feature, even though you're pretty sure it's still more autocorrect than autopilot. Also, you're definitely that person who asks, have you seen how fast it can go from 0 to 60? We all know you haven't taken it past 40 miles per hour. Ferrari. You've got a lot of money, but not a lot of self-awareness. You bought this car because you thought it would make you look cool. But let's be honest, it's mostly making you look like you're trying too hard. You're not impressing anyone by revving the engine at a stoplight. Well, maybe a few people in their Corollas are impressed, but you do have good taste in cars, so we'll give you that. Jeep. You love nature, or at least the idea of it. You probably have a kayak that's never seen the water. Your Jeep is tough and ready for adventure. But honestly, the only off-roading you've done is driving over a speed bump a little too fast. Still, we respect your commitment to looking like you're always on a trail in the middle of the woods. BMW. You think you're above the average driver, but the truth is, you probably just like honking at people for no reason. You drive like you're starring in your own action movie, but let's face it, the only danger you're in is from the speeding tickets piling up. And yes, we see you pretending to know how to drive manual when you're really just pretending to shift. Toyota. You're sensible, reliable, and practical. You don't need a fancy car to feel good about yourself, and honestly, that's refreshing. You might drive a Camry, but it's a smooth ride. No drama, no frills, just get you from point A to point B and keep your monthly payments low. And let's be real, your car's not cool, but it'll always start. Pagani. Okay, so you've got a Pagani. We see you. You're the kind of person who probably checks the price tag every time you step inside, just to remind yourself that you can afford this ridiculous level of luxury. You might not be the best driver, but who cares when you're cruising around in something that costs more than a small country? You're definitely making a statement. Probably something like, I don't need friends, I've got a Pagani. Chevrolet. You're practical and down to earth. You probably don't care too much about the image your car projects because your Chevy gets the job done. Whether it's a Silverado or a Malibu, it's not about looking flashy. It's about knowing your car's not going to let you down when you need it most. And let's be real, you probably know how to fix it too. Lamborghini. You didn't buy this car to drive, you bought it to be seen. And seen you will be. You're the type who loves the idea of being a big deal and thinks a loud engine will do the talking. Spoiler, it does. Unfortunately, it also makes you come off as a bit of a show-off. But hey, who's gonna blame you? You've got a Lamborghini. Honda. You're simple, you're chill, and you don't need to show off. You just want something reliable, and that's why you've got your trusty Honda. You're the person who takes care of your car, even when it's 15 years old and still running like a champ. Honestly, there's a comfort in owning a Honda because you know it'll never let you down. And let's face it, you're probably the most chill person in your friend group. Maserati. You're all about that Italian luxury, but you don't want the high-profile Ferrari price tag. You want to look good without the Lamborghini attitude. You're that guy at the bar who orders wine and then proceeds to tell everyone how it's hand-picked by the vineyard's own sommelier. Just admit it, you bought the Maserati because it sounds fancy, not because you know anything about cars. Ford. You're no nonsense. You're not out here trying to impress anyone. You just need a car that works. Whether it's a Mustang or an F-150, you're here for the ride. You're probably the most straightforward person in your circle. And that's honestly kind of refreshing. Plus, we all know you're secretly proud that you don't have to worry about your car breaking down every few months. Audi. You're the kind of person who enjoys the finer things in life, but still wants to be low-key about it. You could have bought a flashy BMW or a more expensive Mercedes, but Audi's subtle luxury is what calls to you. You're the sophisticated type, and let's face it, you've probably got a good taste in wine too. But hey, at least you're not as loud about it as a Ferrari driver. Subaru. You love the outdoors, or at least you pretend to. Your Subaru makes you feel like you're always on a mountain trail, even though the most adventurous thing you've done is take it through a car wash. But who cares? You're practical, enjoy the simple life, and we respect that. Plus, it's nice to know that no matter how crazy your weekend plans get, your Subaru's got your back. McLaren, you've made it, and now you want everyone to know. You're the person who bought a McLaren not because you love cars, but because you love flexing. And flex you do. Everyone's got to admire the carbon fiber body and that screaming engine. But seriously, you probably drive like you're still trying to figure out how to control all that power. But that's okay. You'll figure it out, or crash trying. Rolls-Royce. You don't just want a car, you want an experience. You drive a Rolls-Royce not because you need to, but because you can. It's all about the luxury, the status, and the fact that no one's ever going to question your success. You might not talk much about your car, but it talks for you and it's saying, I'm rich. Porsche. You're the type of person who wants a car that can handle the track, but also cruise in style. A Porsche isn't just a car, it's a lifestyle. You're probably the kind of person who talks about driving on the Autobahn, like it's something you do every weekend. Except it's been years since you've actually been to Europe. Still, you probably have some aggressive driving habits and like to take corners a little too fast, just because your car can handle it. Nissan, you've got a car that's reliable, straightforward, and doesn't ask for attention. You're not about the flashiness, but you sure know how to get things done. Whether it's a Rogue or a 370Z, you're okay with having a car that's functional and doesn't cost a fortune. You don't need the bells and whistles, but you'll low-key brag about how long your Nissan's been running. And hey, props for that, Aston Martin. You're the James Bond of your friend group. You bought an Aston Martin because you want to look like you belong in a tuxedo chasing bad guys, even if you're more often found in sweatpants at a coffee shop. You're classy, suave, and probably have more than one stunning watch to match. And let's be honest, you definitely make a 007 reference every time someone asks about your car. Hyundai. You're the type who knows that cars don't have to be expensive to be good. You've got a Hyundai because it's a solid, practical choice that gets the job done. But let's be real, you've been low-key impressed with how well Hyundai's stepped up its game in recent years. Still, you'll never admit it's your favorite car. You just enjoy not having to spend an arm and a leg to drive around in something decent. Bentley. You like luxury, but you're not loud about it. You bought a Bentley because it's the understated choice of the rich. While the Rolls-Royce crowd is showing off, you're chilling, cruising down the highway with your plush leather seats and hand-stitched interior. You don't need to brag. Your car speaks volumes for you, but deep down, you're quietly judging the guy who just drove past you in his flashy sports car. Mazda. You're the person who just wants to have fun. You're probably the kind of person who's into road trips and spontaneous adventures. You might not have a ton of money, but your Mazda is your pride and joy, and it shows. You've got a sporty spirit, but don't need to flash it. Your Mazda's got the personality, and you've got the drive to make the most out of it. Land Rover. You're all about luxury with a side of adventure. You bought a Land Rover because you want the best of both worlds. Stylish enough to take to a dinner party, rugged enough to take on an off-road trail. You might not actually take it off-roading, but you like the idea of it. You're the person who's ready to navigate any terrain, just as long as it's in your perfectly paved neighborhood. Mini Cooper. You don't take yourself too seriously, and you're all about the fun ride. You're probably the person who's always up for an impromptu road trip, and you don't care how small your car is, as long as it gets you there. Plus, you're the one with the coolest car in the parking lot, even if you're just going to grab coffee. The only downside? It's hard to get out of parking spots with that little thing. Chrysler. You just want a car that gets you through life without too many headaches. Whether it's a Pacifica or a 300, you like things simple, reliable, and no nonsense. You probably also have some kids because, let's be real, Chrysler is great for families. You're not out here trying to impress anyone with your ride, but your car is spacious, comfortable, and gets you from point A to point B without a hassle. Bugatti. You're the kind of person who loves to flex, but you also want the ultimate performance. You didn't get a Bugatti to just drive around, you got it to show off. People around you know you're wealthy, but when they see you in a Bugatti, they're reminded just how much wealthier you are than everyone else. Fast? Sure, but you really want to make sure everyone knows you own the road. And maybe you do.